I accidentally pressed with my thumb the stop button. Anyway, I had a cool vision of being in the diary room and telling people what the covenant of Jerusalem is, which is basically just allowing people to enter into heaven, e.g., allowing people to die via either a bullet or an injection whilst they sleep. I think the injection whilst they sleep is probably the better idea, but the bullet idea is cool too because at least you're awake and you know exactly when you're passing. I think when you're asleep, you might not know when you pass, so there might be slight confusion, or I don't know. There's a slight uncertainty of not knowing what might happen or not, but you won't feel it. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think you really feel being shot in the head either. I feel like it just woo, it's like that. It's like just like a shock, and you don't feel anything. But unless of course you need two bullets, in which case that might, I don't know what that would be. Sometimes it takes two bullets, and anyway. But yeah, I would love to just like say this to people and then be like, oh, and I have to be allowed to go and then start asking for a bullet and be like, hey, why don't you give me a gun and put like two, three bullets in it, and then I can shoot myself three times, and if I'm still alive at the end, then I'll stay, and if I'm dead, then woo, I'm going to like be Lily in the next life. So I could be like, China, get ready for me, make it all nice and pretty for me when I get there, because that's where I'm going next. But yeah, yeah, that's, I can see it being like that. I don't know how the producers of the second show would want things to be. But I know that if I want to glorify death, I would be able to do that very, very easily because I want to die so, so much. So I don't know how much I should glorify it. I mean, technically, this world feels like a prison. It feels like hell. I feel like I've just had nothing but depression. And I feel like there's a song, a Whitney Houston song, where it says something about I'll take nothing but sad memories and bitter memories or something. I mean that's literally how I feel. If I was to die now, I would take nothing but misery, memories of misery and hard times, and I would take that all. But I also know that my next life will be so much better. So um, you know, I I if I want to glorify death, I could probably do it very easily, probably too easily. But yeah, I don't know how the producers of that second show would want it to be. Um, I know that I want hardworking people to stay behind because that's how the world gets better through hard work and people maintaining having nice gardens and stuff like this. There's some areas in Birmingham that are lovely, and you walk around and you just think, I don't want these people to go because look, they've made this home really lovely. I hate this world, but at the same time, I know my higher self feels the opposite. I hate cow people, but my higher self is looking at cow people and being like, well, cow people just, fund the film industry. And so I love cow people. I can actually see her sitting in a luxurious private cinema eating popcorn, just being like, talking about Anna. I love cow people. Cow people, put money into the film industry, and because they're putting money into the film industry, I have a huge amount of fun making films and inspiring songs and working with producers. And okay, they might not know when I'm working with them or when I'm not working with them, but you know I feel like my higher self and me are completely different people because I hate this world because I'm just doing nothing all day and just feeling, getting depressed over Christianity because it's just such a nonsense religion, and yet so many people see it as the truth, and it's like, how could you see this as the truth? And then it irritates me. But then I know my higher self isn't seeing it that like that. She just knows that you need to calm the idiot people, and so giving them an idiot religion calms the idiot people because the idiot people are sitting back thinking God is handling everything, it's fine, we just need to wait for the rapture. And that's a lot better than them on the streets causing problems and just I mean, a lot of these people who have believe in Christianity, a strong Christian and the rapture believers, rapture is basically a conspiracy theorist. People who have conspiracy theories, they don't just have it with one thing; they have it with a lot of things. They believe in chemtrails. They believe in that aliens are taking over the world. There's this video that I heard today, which was crazy, that they think that the government are talking about aliens, because when the rapture happens and Jesus comes to take his people away, they're going to try and make out that it wasn't Jesus who took the people away, it was aliens. And I just think that's such a stupid nonsense thing to say. I mean, why would they say that aliens did it rather than Jesus? I mean, what would be the purpose of that? What would be the point of that? You know, I don't know. These rapture believers are just, they believe all sorts of nonsense. Now, if they believe all sorts of nonsense, they'll probably also be the type of people that would believe that the people at the top are lizard people and stuff. And you know, people who have strange beliefs like that can be very dangerous because they can take their beliefs into all sorts of nonsense. You know, I feel like there are definitely two types of people. Um, just like the Neanderthals and the Homo sapiens, there's definitely two types of people, and religious people are the bad type. But just because they're religious doesn't mean that they won't change when they see me. If I tell them my religion, you know, maybe religious people are just religious because they want to believe in a God, and the religions that the world have are the only religions that kind of back up God, and they want to believe in God because they like hope and they want to, you know, to have trust that something is going to come. You know, my friend Nicholas that would say it like that. You know, he would say it's not really about believing in certain things, it's just about having hope. You know, Jesus gives him hope, and even if it's not true, he likes what the hope that Jesus gives, and I can understand that. You know, I can understand that. I mean, technically, I feel like there's a fool's hope and a real hope. You know, to believe that Jesus came in flesh, that's a real hope. But I am here. I am Christ. I am the real flesh. And he doesn't think that's possible because he doesn't think that I will ever get onto Big Brother. He doesn't think that I will be able to get onto the world scene because he just doesn't believe that anyone would support me. And a few people have told me, don't tell, you know, Big Brother this because I have no chance of getting onto Big Brother if I start saying my religious beliefs. And you know, that's the common view of most people I meet. But yeah, if I do get onto Big Brother, then that proves them wrong. And then suddenly it's like, well, I am on the world stage. I am telling people that I am the real Christ, and you now have to fall away from what you were believing in it before. But there's a lot of people that are going to be willing to do that, and there's a lot of people that are still going to put their hope in heaven. And I'm just like, if I say to them that actually to make heaven, you know, you need to make earth a nice place to live, and part of living in a nice place is also living with nice people, and people who believe nonsense. You know, the Bible is nonsense. There's so much rubbish in that, and to believe it just shows that you're not interested in truth. You're not interested in facts. You're not interested in just saying, you know what, I don't know the truth, and I'm going to just wait until I have real evidence that this is the truth. You know, just because people say it's the truth, that means trust is important. You know, trust is really important. And I feel like I have no trust in humans whatsoever because there's huge numbers of people who say that they know Christ, they know God, they know, and then they start talking about Jesus and God the Father. And I'm just like, well, you don't know God, you don't know Christ, you're just lying. And then you hear alien encounters and just people talking about everything, and then you can talk about facts and statistics, and it's just like, where have they got this data from? I mean, you could say that, you know, you could build a chart and show this and say, oh, it's taken from this university. But if I actually went to that university, if I actually did the research on who actually created that chart, would I actually find results? Or have I just stumbled across another liar? And I have no trust in humans. I have no trust in anything. And I feel like this distrust is only going to cause problems because no one is going to trust anything. And I feel like when I'm exposed as Christ and people start believing, you know, they will start seeing the same things that I see, which is that there are huge amounts of liars here that, you know, say that they've seen Jesus, spoken to Jesus, that they talk for God, and then they'll see all these, you know, normal people who look like everyone else, seem like everyone else. They might seem smart, they might talk well presented, but they're lying. And then if you think, well, if they are lying, then who else is lying? And suddenly you lose trust for everything. And when the world has no trust in anyone, no trust in God, because God can't talk to people, and these people are just lying about talking to God. No trust in people because they're just lying about everything or anything. And you know, a time of chaos is going to come, and I feel like I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel like if people want to commit suicide over it, you have to let them, because they're going to start going mad and they're going to start causing problems for other people. Um, I don't know how China is going to react to this, but I'm sure they know that, or the people at the top know that it's overpopulated. And and I think everyone knows. There's a lot of suicide bombers in the Middle East and stuff, and they always say Allah is great before killing themselves and a lot of people. And I didn't agree with it a couple of years ago, but now I do agree with it, just because this world is such a horrible place. And if in the Middle East you see loads of people just on the streets, and their clothes as well. Although I would never tell Muslims to change the way they dress. I don't like the way they dress. I don't like the way Jews dress. I feel like if you're trying to create division in the world, dressing a specific type of way so that everyone knows that you are from a specific group, this is only causing division and problems. And I don't like it. Jerusalem is problems. There's problems there, because you can see the Jews dressing up as one thing. You can see the Muslims dressing up as another thing, and you can see the divide, and divide causes problems. We are from this line, you are from this line, and we are different because we are from different bloodlines. And it's just, actually, that's not my message. My message is Muslims who hate Jews can die and become a Jew in their next life. And you know what? I bet those people who do that are probably going to have that same hatred just towards something that's different from one of them. So if a Muslim person hates Jews, I feel like they might die, and from whatever causes, old age or just health problems or whatever, through normal life. And then the Matrix will say, well, you hated these people, so we're going to put you inside the body of the children of these people. And then I bet these same people grow up believing now that they are on the Jewish side. So it's just like playing a chessboard. You're on the white side, and then you imagine there is souls in the chessboard, and you die and you come back on the black side. You're still going to hate the opposite of what you are, not because of anything that it is, but rather just because you see it as different from yourself. Now, if I said that all the Jewish people of the past have just died and been reborn all over Europe and America, and the more lives you have, the smarter you are. And so if you're worshipping something because of your ancient ancestors, your ancient ancestors have now moved on. They've evolved. They are now the world leaders. If they were leaders of the ancient world, they're probably still the leaders of the modern world, only they've now changed their beliefs and changed their ways. And if you see things like that, you would no longer see the world as being divided up into groups. You'll just see it as just, some people are smarter or more evolved or had more lived and is more developed than others, and that is a much better way. But I would never tell people to change how they dress, because I don't like how either dress. And if you don't know that, God actually just prefers color and individuality, and a world where you can't really tell the difference between religions, everyone just looks the same, not the same, but everyone looks individual. But because everyone looks individual, they look the same, because they just express, there's no group divide. It's dividing this person and this person, oh, and this person and this person, but there's no like separation. And if you don't know that, then I feel like by dressing in specific Jewish clothing or specific Muslim clothing, or any type of specific clothing that's not just you dressing up like a jelly baby or whatever, that shows that you don't know me. And I think you need to know that. People need to know who can actually feel God. And by dressing up in just a white robe, I feel like you will know. If you believe that I'm God, you will know that I don't actually like that. and you will know that you can wear what you want, but yeah, don't do it for me. Don't wear like that for me. I think that the leaders do need to wear it, just to encourage other people to wear that way. But yeah, personally, I don't like it. But yeah, I don't know what will happen in the second Big Brother show. But it would be cool to meet these leaders. There are a lot of countries that have a lot of suffering and poverty, and I think if I was to meet an Arab leader, I would tell that Arab leader, see those people on the streets that are starving and hungry. How would you like to know that there's a chance that you might die and be born as one of their kids? How would you like that? And if they don't like that, these multi-millionaires who have lots of oil money or whatever, how would they like it to know that that could be them? They're not going to like it, and therefore the only way to prevent that from happening is to prevent people from living in this extreme poverty. And you can do that either by what England have done, which is setting up tax and making sure people pay tax and then putting the tax towards the poorer people. But then I think England are doing it too well, because there are some people that are living on tax money, and yet they just don't appreciate life, and they don't work very hard, and they don't look after the gardens or the world around them and stuff. But yeah, there is quite a big divide in America, but there's good and bad in everything. How England are doing it up. They've made England looks nice in most places, but yeah, um, there is. There's I think England is much better, considering how you can know how good a country is by how nice it looks, and how safe you feel. And if there's places that you don't feel safe and you aren't safe, and things don't look nice, then they're doing something wrong. And and yeah, there's a lot of poverty that I don't want to exist, but unfortunately getting rid of poverty does just mean murdering them, like, or getting them to want to go into heaven, getting them to want something better. And then it's not done. That's not murder. That's choice. But you have to give people that choice. Do they want to live? Do they want to die? If you feel you are just suffering, then you should be allowed to die. I hate my life, and if assisted suicide was a real thing, I would have died years and years ago. I would have probably committed suicide when I was 12. Like, that's how, when things changed for me. And it is interesting how I think my life was shit at 6, but when I was 12, I felt like that was when I just really started to realize how awful the world was. And it is interesting how I believe that when I was Dala, I had a child when I was 12. And likewise, the turn of the century happened. I was born in 87. So in 2000, April 2000, I would have been 13. But technically, at the turn of 2000, so 99 to 2000, I would have been 12. And so yeah, the same thing is happening. Before I was Dala, now I'm a cave woman. I mean, no, before I was a cave woman, now I'm living like this, but I'm not happy. I'm not happy, and I know if I died, I'd be so much happier in my next life. And I'm sure there's loads of other people that have this same belief. They feel like they've been suffering, and they've lived a horrible life, and they don't want to just be a beggar on the street. They think there's people that would rather be, an animal, a bird in the sky, than live in poverty and in starvation, and with the humility of feeling like you're just one of billions of people. There's so many people that would much rather just, build a nest, have your babies, and you can there's satisfaction in that. Birds are not unhappy creatures, um, and yeah, I don't like poverty, and unfortunately, the reason why poverty is happening is because people are having too many kids, and there's not enough resources to go around. And forests, there needs to be forest, but at the same time, if making it rain in the Middle East is only going to cause the population to start doubling every 20 years, then God's going to have to be like, okay, well, we're not sending you rain. We're not going to give you rain. We're going to give you deserts to stop you from having more kids. But people don't see depression as God's way of trying to reduce the population. They're still stuck with the olden days, which have kids and multiply, which okay would have been something that I would have said thousands of years ago, but it's not now. And some people are just too busy. Their mindset is stuck in the past, that they can't see the importance of how we've changed now and things are different.